The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod and we are webcasting to you live from the Center for Autism and Related Disorders headquarters in Tarzana, California. So I feel like it's been a long time since we've been back, but it's Tuesday and we're thrilled to be here with you this morning. We're going to be live with you for the next 2 hours and we've got a really exciting show for you guys. Dig in because we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff that we haven't had the opportunity to talk about before. I always start the show by reminding you that we talk about autism from a 360-degree perspective, and that there are endless topics that we could cover, right? And you guys are always wanting to know more about the medical side of things with autism, and we're really going to be digging in a lot this week and talking about that. Got some really exciting guests today and throughout the week. Things that you guys have been asking for, and I'm so happy and thrilled that we're going to be talking about that. But again, we have a focus, but we always talk about autism from a 360-degree perspective. We want to help you to get connected to the resources that are going to help you to get further. We know that progress is the name of the game for all of us, whether you're a parent, teacher, practitioner working with a child who's on the spectrum, or a teenager or an adult on the spectrum, or you yourself are on the autism spectrum. We know that there are a lot of different considerations. Some of them are physical, some of them are emotional, some of them are financial, right? And that all of those things together can make for a very unhappy stress pie, right? And we don't want stress pie. We want to eat wonderful, wonderful, peaceful pie. So we, again, want to help you get hooked up with those resources that will help you to get to the answers that you need, because we also know this is not a one-size-fits-all by any stretch of the imagination. And perhaps the only thing that all of us have in common is that we could use some help and some support, right? So that's really what we want to help you to do. The show is meant to be interactive. We do encourage you to write in and tell us what it is that you need, what you're looking for. And there are many, many, many different ways to get in touch with us. Emily's going to quickly cycle through some of the different ways that you can get in touch with us. And I want to remind you that our homepage is autism-live.com. When you go there, you will see a desktop. There's a computer screen. Click on the triangle on the computer screen and you will be able to either watch the live show if it's during the hours that we broadcast, or you can watch the most recently recorded live show. Now, to the side of that computer are a series of white boxes. You can see what question we're answering right now, and you can also type in your questions, suggestions, comments in that box that's right below. When you put your cursor there and you type away and hit enter, it shows up here on my screen so that we can discuss it during the next live show. And we cycle, we never wipe anything off until we've discussed it. So if you missed your question, go back and search topics to see if you can find your question, or you can write me and say, hey, I asked this question, when did you answer it? And I'll let you know. If you want specific information, though, we have no way of knowing who you are when you're on that live feature. You have complete anonymity. So if you want us to get back to you with information, make sure that you include some way that we can get in touch with you. We will not share that with anyone else, especially not the live audience, right? We want to maintain your anonymity because we know sometimes, I do like to remind you at the start of the show that I am not an expert in autism. We have some amazing experts that are going to be with us this week, and we always feature great experts, but I'm not one of them. I'm an autism parent, so I can relate to a lot of things, but I am not an expert in autism and never want to be perceived as if I am or that I think I am. I know for sure that I am not an expert in autism. But my son was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.5. He is now 10.5, and he is the light of my life. This would not have been evidenced by last night. When I say I'm not an expert in autism, if you just could have dropped into my home last night and watched the discussion that my son and I had about how I'm ruining his life by asking him to do homework, you would see that I'm clearly not an expert in autism, right? But I, like you, I have a great desire to learn more and to be the best possible team member for my son to help him to get where he wants to go in his individual way, right? I think that's what all of us want, is to be a part of the team, to help everybody to make the amount of progress that they can. And I want you to know we can do that. There are ways that we can help ourselves to know that. There are all kinds of training available, and hope is endless and boundless here in the autism community. And if that's new to you, I'm so glad you found us, because here we're going to talk about how we get her done. How are we going to get it done? We look at what does the individual need and how are we going to make that happen? And we see that there's every reason to believe that we can do that, and lots of evidence that that has been done before us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Love that. So in any case, we hope that you will participate throughout the day today and ask questions and let us know topics that you want more information about. So we like to start every morning with something that we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. Now, I giggle a little bit because there are people who are like, what? You want to do the jargon of the day? And I feel that as a person who didn't have a background in autism, on the day that my son was diagnosed with autism, I wanted to know, what are we talking about here? What do I need to do? Tell me everything that you know. And what I got was this giant chunk of jargon that made no sense to me. They might as well have been speaking in another language. Now, I'm an intelligent person and I know how to use a dictionary and I know how to use Google, so I went, not a problem. I'm just going to look these terms up. And what I found was more jargon. And tears, frustration, overwhelm, and just wanting to know, what are we talking about? So it was important to me, because I know that when we try to take on anything that's huge and overwhelming, part of what we need to do is really break it down and do it a little bit at a time. And then we see progress, right? So I always love Dr. Tarbox. Dr. Jonathan Tarbox will say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's what we're doing with the jargon. We're taking it on one bite at a time. So we take one word, one phrase, one acronym every day. We give you the actual definition, and then we give you a somewhat watered down version that helps us to sink our teeth into it and get a beginning understanding. A lot of times our working definitions make the experts break out into hives. You know, their jargon makes us break out into hives, so we can make them break out in hives occasionally too, right? So I can't believe we've never done this before, but today's jargon term is biomedical treatment. Did I just hear somebody break into song? Yeah. What are we talking about here? So our actual definition here is the use of physical or medical treatments, including but not limited to drug therapies that are used to treat mental or psychological disorders. Okay, as definitions go, it's not the most difficult to understand, but let's take it down a further notch so that we're talking about what is biomedical treatment in terms of autism. So for our working definition, where ASD, autism spectrum disorder, is concerned, biomedical treatment involves treating both the child's physical, internal, and external environment. This may include medication, supplements, dietary changes, etc. And I really, if we were going to take it down a step further, what I think of this as is looking at the child as a whole. Because a lot of times our children, we get a diagnosis of autism, and when you go to the pediatrician and you say, and I'm not being ridiculous here, if you go and say to some pediatricians, my child has a sore throat, they go, yeah, they have autism. And it seems to them that that's the end of the discussion. And I would love to be saying to you, now that's a gross exaggeration, except that I've seen that happen to parents. I have seen that happen to parents. That particular example hasn't happened to me, but I know my son had the flu, and there was another child in his preschool class who had the flu. They both had the flu and had been vomiting the same amount of time, were demonstrating that they were dehydrated. Both of them. And in both cases, that mom and myself, we took our children to the emergency room. Now, we weren't there at the same time, but we both had the same doctor. Okay? So, and I know there are other variables. Maybe there were other things going on in the hospital that day, but the other child, they saw that he was dehydrated and he wasn't on the autism spectrum. And so they gave him an IV and they rehydrated him, and that child got to go home an hour later with some hydration, and, he was better within a couple of days. My child, they said, well, you're just going to have to take him home and write it out. And I even at one point had said to the doctor, hey, do you think maybe we should do an IV because he seems pretty dehydrated to me? And that doctor said to me, oh, children on the autism, I don't like to give them an IV. It's just there's like too many other factors. And afterward, and I was new to autism and I was new to advocating for my child and still saying, I'm going to let other people tell me what's best, and now I, get right in there and say, hey, this is what I feel. So can we further discuss this? Not that I don't listen to the doctors, but, if I don't know, I have a working relationship with a doctor, I want to make sure that they understand that I'm not declining medical treatment because my child has autism. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really important that we get doctors and that we align ourselves with doctors who see our children as whole children, that an autism diagnosis is not a period at the end of a sentence that says we're not treating anything else medically. So that if in fact our child is having GI issues, that we're not poo-pooing that. We're going to be talking about those GI issues today. Wait until you hear who we're having on the show to talk about GI issues. Oh, it's so exciting. So biomedical treatment, looking at your whole child and making sure that your whole child is healthy and that we don't just go autism, that's a psychological disorder, so we're not treating other things. Right? So important. This is a very important part of treating our children with autism. It can be a very controversial part of treating autism because there are varying different therapies that are out there. And of course, we always want to be as science-based as we can, right? And not just throwing spaghetti at a wall. But having said that, there's a great deal of science out there suggesting that there are ways that we can get our kids healthy. We need more, and we're going to be talking about that. But biomedical treatment, something that we are definitely going to be talking about. All right, so we always have a question of the day for you. And our question today has to do with this biomedical treatment. We're asking you what biomedical treatments have worked for you. And really interested, I know you guys have already started writing in on this, and I think I always say that our questions that we ask you, I love it when you might look at it and just answer the question for yourself, and that's perfectly fine, but there is another level. When you can write it into us anonymously and share, and we appreciate that information because we take that back to some of the people that are on the show and say, hey, our parents are asking about this, or our parents are raving about this, or our parents, it feeds the machine here, right? But there is another level too. If you go on Facebook and you post it on Facebook, a lot of people look at that and it tells people, sometimes it informs them about, I didn't even know about that. Maybe I need to ask more questions about that. The first time I ever heard about the methyl B12 shots was because I read about it when somebody else asked a question about it. They said, have you noticed that when your child gets a methyl B12 shot, and I don't even remember what it was, and I said, what's the methyl B12 shot? And my son it has been appropriate for my son. I went to his doctor and said, is he a child who stands to benefit from doing this? We did some medical testing and found out that he was a child who stood to benefit from a methyl B12 shot, and he has benefited from it. I don't know how long it would have taken me to find out about to know which question to ask if I hadn't seen another parent ask a question. So if a biomedical treatment has been really exciting for you and you have seen a change in yourself or in your child, please write in and tell us on Facebook so that other people can see that and know which questions to ask. It's really a way that you do service. And I think when you've had something positive happen, it's good to say it out loud. And remember, yeah, there are some positive things that are going on, especially if you're having a rough day. Name it and claim it, right? Okay, so we always have a topic of the week. And in fact, this entire month, our topic is talking about advances in autism. And this week, we are really honing in on advances in medicine, in the medical treatment of autism. And this is a field that we hope grows, and we have great expectations for. It can be very frustrating because it feels like it moves so very, very slow with research. But of course, I don't know about you, but I have always said my child is not a petri dish, and I want to make sure there's that Hippocratic oath, right? For doctors, first do no harm. And I certainly said that when we started looking at different interventions for our son, that I wanted to follow the science. I want to make sure that I, as a parent, am responsible, and that I never put my child in further danger. So while I sometimes am frustrated at how slow medicine moves, I also appreciate being very, very cautious. This is my precious, precious child, and I know that a lot of you agree to varying different degrees, and a lot of you have your frustration level of let's move faster. And so I think we can all acknowledge that where we want to get to is more answers. That's really what we're looking for. So this week we're going to be unveiling some of those answers. And always when you unveil answers, you unveil more questions. So some of the different things that we have going on here at the show today, one of the first things that we're going to do after the break is give you an update on some of the things that are happening with Autism Live that I need to share with all of you, and a call to action for all of you as well. Then a little bit later on in this hour, this is so exciting, you guys, Dr. Paul Wang is going to be with us. Now, and I want to get his title right, he is the Autism Speaks Senior Vice President and Head of Medical Research. And he is going to be sharing with us a very exciting initiative that was just made public last week, that Autism Speaks is heading this huge initiative to do further research into the brain-gut connection. And I'm going to let him explain to all of us what that means and what the ramifications are. But I can tell you that everything in my being is humming with excitement that this is happening. This is a thing that's time has come, and this is exciting. This is something I really strongly believe that we all need to celebrate. And Dr. Wang is going to be with us to talk about that in just about 20 minutes from now. And then in the second hour today, we are welcoming back our wonderful guest, Matt Asner. As you know, if you watch the show, he is the executive director of the Southern California chapter of Autism Speaks. I know it's like it's an Autism Speaks day today. We have other stuff that we're covering too, but so thrilled to have Matt here. He's an autism dad and an autism brother, and the head of really one of the biggest chapters of Autism Speaks, if not the biggest chapter of Autism Speaks. And we are less than a week away now from April 1st and probably more importantly, April 2nd, which is World Autism Awareness Day. And we want to talk with him about what Autism Speaks Los Angeles chapter has going on for this month. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And I know that a lot of you can't get to Los Angeles, but I want you to feel the hope and be encouraged to look at what you have going on locally that you can participate in. So thrilled to have him here with us. A very exciting news that he's going to be sharing with us, and that's in the next hour. All right, we are going to take a short break, and then we are going to come back and talk a little bit about some news here at Autism Live. Stick with us.
Hello, fellow activists. Today we're going to talk about the 10 steps to empowerment. Step number 1, accept and embrace this challenge. By telling you to accept and embrace the challenge, I don't mean you have to love autism. Let's get this straight. I love my child with autism, but I hate that autism stole a big part of his childhood. When I look back at my journey, I realize that I knew in my gut that my son was regressing at the age of 2. I had a hard time with acceptance. It didn't come easy for me. My denial may have stemmed from the fact that I didn't want to go through what my own mother had, raising a child with Down syndrome with no support. I even equated my mother's alcoholism with her being stuck at home with a disabled child. I didn't want that life for myself. I couldn't believe that having lived through the experience of having a brother with special needs, I was now faced with having to raise my own child with special needs as well. But being in denial did not make the truth go away. It's when we can accept the truth that it can set us free. Until next time, stay strong and keep the faith.
Welcome back to Autism Live. And I said before the break that we were going to come back and give you an update from Autism Live. And I wish that I had huge, exciting news to share in this moment, because we always have a lot of excitement going on. But unfortunately, this has the potential to be a negative. But I like to keep it real and I like to keep it honest here. And so I want to say to all of you, I refer to this show as the little show that can, because I believe that we can, and we have managed in our time on the air to accomplish a great deal. But I will be honest with you that we can't do this show without you. And I've been listening. I listen in the morning to NPR a lot of times on the way in, and right now they're having their pledge drive. And I was reminded that it is okay from time to time to ask your viewers for help and support. And while the show has grown exponentially and more of you are watching than ever, we really need to demonstrate more growth, or we will be in danger of being off the air. And I need to be clear and be honest about that, and to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I need your help. I need your help, and there are a couple of things that you could do. Now, we're not like NPR. At this moment in time, we're not asking you to send in, money out of your pocket. I guess it could come to that, but I really hope that it doesn't come to that, because I know how financially strapped all of you are, and we want to continue to be a free resource for you. So here's what I'd like to ask you in this moment in time. If you come here and you see something and you think that this is valuable, I need to ask you to please share it, not just with the people that are closest to you, but I need you to share this far and wide. I need you to go to your social marketing and talk us up. When you see an interview, share it. Share the show as a whole. Let everyone within the scope of your voice know about this show and encourage them, call to action to come. And all we're asking is for more people to watch. In addition to that, if you know people who would like to be sponsors here on the show, we're looking to increase our partnerships with organizations and with products so that we can have a wider sponsorship base. And if there's somebody that you can connect us with who might want to sponsor a segment on the show, we would certainly be interested in talking to you and in talking to them. I wouldn't come to you and say these things if we weren't at a serious level. At this moment in time, it is critical that we get some help and support from you. So please find it in your heart to share us and help us to keep bringing you the information that we have been bringing you. And I thank you so much for your loyal viewership and for being with us and for all the things that you write in. I really feel that this show is a collaborative with so many people, because we are nothing without you. And I hope that you will continue to be here and continue to share us. I thank you very much. We're going to take a break, and we are going to be right back with some more information. Stick with us.
Hi guys, welcome back to Smarty. This month we're gonna make some gluten-free Play-Doh. It's a great activity because A, I know a lot of our kids have an allergy to gluten, and B, it's super cheap and cost effective to make your own. So let's get started. The materials you'll be needing are 1 cup of white rice flour, half a cup of cornstarch, half a cup of salt, 1 tablespoon of cream of tartar, 1.5 teaspoons of vegetable oil, 1 cup of water, food coloring, a saucepan, and a spatula. So as you guys can see, I'm in my kitchen because I'm going to be using the stovetop to make the Play-Doh. First what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pot and fill it up with all the dry ingredients, okay? Now that I have my dry ingredients in the saucepan, I'm now going to add the wet ones, the vegetable oil and the water. I'm going to turn the pan onto low heat and continue stirring. What I want to make sure happens is that it gets solidified and gooky looking, you'll see in a second, but not overcooked, okay? You're just trying to get the materials to kind of congeal. You know the dough is ready. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna just take it off the stovetop and let it cool. Once it's cool, then you're gonna add your coloring, and boom, you've got gluten-free Play-Doh. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Play-Doh with your kids. Until next time, craft on, guys.
Can you see me flying by your side?
Welcome back to Autism Live. We love it when you guys write in on the live feature, and I wanted to take just a couple of seconds to address some of the things that you guys wrote in over the weekend, some of which I am going to save for Dr. Doreen Granpeche in the morning. We have asked Dr. Doreen tomorrow morning, and some of these are perfect for her. But I wanted to quickly address a couple of different things that one person in particular who has written in on a couple of our different features, and I'm so proud of this parent. My son, 21 months old, was diagnosed with autism this morning. So my question is, what is the procedure to determine that? This is the first doctor that we've seen. He has speech delay and other milestone delays, but not sure if I'm in disbelief. I don't know much of autism, never had the need. Yes, we all come in on that day like that, but I do want to educate myself on it to help my child. But I'm still thinking, could he be too small? Should I get a second opinion help? New mom to the autism community, don't know what to do or where to start. So I'm going to give a brief overview, and then we're going to let Dr. Granpeche talk directly about this tomorrow morning for Ask Dr. Doreen. But I do want to let you know that what you're feeling, every parent has felt some version of when their child first gets diagnosed, that there is, if you watch in the interview that we did with Holly Robinson Pete last week, and she talked about that there are stages to it, and that I mentioned that at one point when my child was diagnosed, I went through a pity party, and she said, yeah, that's a part of it. And denial is also a part of it too. Some of us refer to it as floating down that river in Egypt, denial. And I don't mean to make light of it at all, except that to tell you that you're right on schedule. That's a part of this, and it's okay how you're feeling. It's totally okay how you're feeling. However, I'm impressed with how quickly you've moved into action. Because that's the next thing that we usually say to people is, you're going to feel denial, you're going to feel a certain amount of, why is this happening to my child, why is this happening to me, right? But that as quickly as you can, you need to get into action, because that's when all the good stuff starts to happen. And look at you. Look at how you're impressive to me. I want to be you when I grow up. So congratulations for getting that quickly into action. Congratulations for asking great questions. I'm going to let Dr. Granpeche outline for you how they arrive at an autism diagnosis, and to talk to you about how we get caught up in the diagnosis, right? That this is the label that gets put on, and that really what probably is better is to start thinking in terms of what help does my child need, and that, because we get bogged down in, is it this diagnosis? Is it an accurate diagnosis? Think of it in a way that you were just told this morning that your child needs a whole lot of help. and that perhaps the silver lining is that by giving this diagnosis, you will, in all likelihood, be eligible for insurance coverage and other funding that will help you to get that help financially because you got that diagnosis. I think a lot of us in the early days were like, I don't want to get that diagnosis, I don't want to. And then we got the diagnosis and found out that in some respects, having that piece of paper that says your child has that ensures that your child gets the help that they needed. It can be a way of looking at it that quiets all of the anxiety that the term comes up with. And I want you to know that 21 months is a great time, and he's not too young. That's an awesome time because you are within the window of when you can get the most done. Scientifically, we know that if we catch children at the age of 21 months, which your child is, that he has the best possible outcome available to him if you can get hooked up to services as quickly as possible. So I didn't want to leave you hanging on that. There's much more that Dr. Grandpichet will share with you about why your child was qualified for the diagnosis that they got. And if, you want to spend the time and resources to go and get a second opinion, or if you want to dig in and start the process of getting your child the help because you are saying there's a speech delay and other milestone delays. So, you'll get to make those choices for yourself, but she'll outline it for you clearly. And I thank you so much. Stick with us, and you can be writing into us every step along the way. We can hook you up with a lot of great resources. I will say, and it goes perfectly hand in hand with some of the people that we have on the show here, that Autism Speaks has something called a 100-day kit. And you can get on their website today and request that, and it will come to you. It's free, and it really is a very concise guide to help you through the first 100 days of after your child has been diagnosed. They come in lots of different languages, and there are so many of them now that are specified. You can say, here's the one that I need. So I want to encourage you to do that. And throughout the show, we'll talk about resources. But again, I will let Dr. Grandpichet give you the sped up version of that tomorrow. You'll get to hear it directly from an incredible expert's mouth. She's treated more children on the autism spectrum, I think, than anybody else. So an amazing, amazing expert and a visionary in the field of autism. That'll be tomorrow morning. Okay, then in terms of some other questions, of course, as I mentioned, we had Holly Robinson Pete on the show. It was a week ago Thursday, and we were giving away 2 of the Nabi tablets that we featured. Nabi, a wonderful company that has a program called Inspire, that is an outreach just to families who have children on the autism spectrum, and the Inspire tablets come preloaded with autism-friendly apps, and in general, this tablet is a really amazing tool for any child, but specifically for our kids with autism. It addresses some things that we are always looking for in a tablet. It comes with a bumper that keeps the tablet safe. I was at somebody's house last night, and they had a different tablet with a huge crack through the tablet because of a mishap. No child on the spectrum, but and we know that sometimes in frustration, kids can toss the tablet, right? What they do is they bounce. They're like bumbles from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the abominable snowman. They bounce. In any case, really amazing tablets, and the price point is incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's less than half of what some of those higher priced tablets are. So somebody said, I'd like to buy a Nabi tablet for my child on the autism spectrum. He's 6 years old. What is the right name for the tablet for the autistic child? And you're going to want to go to nabi.com and look and see that they have different tablets for different kids and for different abilities. There's a Nabi Junior. There are several different formats. There's one that's just for kids that are in high school and getting ready to go to college, that doesn't have the big, huge bumper on it so that the kid feels like it's a preschool kind of thing. I would imagine that you would want to start with one of the younger ones, but you can go on their site and check what the different features are and align that with what your child's abilities are, and you'll get a really good idea of what you should start with. And then they are available for purchase. You can buy them on Target.com. I believe you can buy them Walmart.com. Lots of different stores. There's actually a tab on the Nabi site that can tell you where you can purchase them. So remarkable tool, and I'm thrilled for you that you're wanting to look at that. So take a look. But choices, and we love choices, don't we? Okay, couple of different things that you guys have written in that I'm seeing here that all look like clinical questions that I am going to save for Dr. Tarbox, but I'm seeing what you guys are writing in and appreciate it. I also want to take a second to talk about some of the different things that you guys are writing in on the biomedical on Facebook, and we'll check back a little bit later to see when you guys have written in more things. But somebody has already written in, the question again was, what biomedical treatments have worked for you? And somebody has written in hyperbaric chamber, which we really appreciate. Another person wrote in GAPS diet with exclamation point. We saw amazing change after 1 week. She was before on the GF-CF-SF, but this GAPS is more effective. Not only behaviors, but my picky eater is now eating 3 times more than with the GF-CF-SF, tries new foods with no problem. And you guys have written in overwhelmingly wanting some more information on the GAPS diet. We are trying to nail down an interview with the expert in GAPS diet, and I hope by the end of the show I'll be able to tell you that the date of when that is happening. And I'm hopeful that it is soon, perhaps even this week, but we have nothing guaranteed yet. And for those of you who are new and you're here GF-CF-SF and wondering what that is, that stands for gluten-free, casein-free, soy-free. Originally, people talked about a GF-CF diet, and then a lot of people went on to add soy to it. I am very interested in finding out more about the GAPS diet, because I would say that there are probably 3 diets that we have not tried, and we have not yet tried the GAPS diet, and I'm wanting to know more about it. Just different things for different kids, right? One of the things that we know are all of our kids are different. There is no one size fits all. They all have different ecosystems, and you know what works for one child is not necessarily appropriate for another child. We have to say that, right? It would be really remiss of us not to say that. But I know when my child started the GF-CF diet, we saw a huge change. I have friends who religiously tried the GF-CF. They did not see that. And I love hearing that somebody that GF-CF didn't work for, that GAPS did. Our kids are individuals, we're individuals, but finding what works for each one of the individuals is a powerful, powerful thing when something does work. So I'll keep you posted. Hopefully we're going to hear more about the GAPS diet this week. All right, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by a fabulous expert in the field of autism. Dr. Paul Wang is going to join us via Skype. He is Autism Speaks Senior Vice President and Head of Medical Research. He is going to be talking with us about a new initiative. It's groundbreaking. A great deal of money is going to be spent over the next potentially 3 years on the gut-brain connection. And if you're wondering, what has this got to do with autism? I'm so glad that you're asking, because Dr. Wang is going to be with us to tell us why this initiative, what it is, and why this initiative is so important. So stick with us.
Hi, I'm Ryan with Autism Research Group. We study ways to improve the lives of kids with autism. One of those ways is teaching safety skills, such as what to do if they get lost. We hit the streets to find out if anybody knows the correct answer on how to teach a kid what to do if they get lost. You're teaching a child
what to do if they get lost.
Yeah, you're trying to make them independent so they have the skills.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, give them a compass. Code name's good idea. Centurion.
We always have this whistle.
Oh, I'd also tell the kid, don't get scared. You're gonna be all right, man. This is just the world. This is planet Earth. You're at home here. As long as you're on planet Earth, you're at home.
As long as you're on planet Earth, you're home. This guy's a genius. With that flawless logic, he just solved our homeless problem. And as for the unique sounding whistle, although very cool, it'll probably only work if you're in close proximity. And a compass,
I have her call me.
yeah, she don't have a phone. Parents are like, you're too young, you don't need a phone.
Establish some sort of like meeting place.
What if they can't find a meeting place? Because sometimes the kids get nervous when they get lost.
Yeah.
So like a backup plan,
Well,
plan B.
yeah, I don't know. No, not really.
Let them go and find a new kid.
Yeah, I've got a different one. Yeah.
There's not much you can do. 'Cause
There is
if you,
stuff you can do.
Right?
That's right, there is stuff you can do. In 2012, myself, along with my colleagues, Dr. Jonathan Tarbox and Dr. Adele Nadowski, published a study in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis on teaching kids what to do when they get lost. The study demonstrated how 3 simple things, rules, role-playing, and praise, were effective in establishing these help-seeking behaviors. The benefit of this method is it doesn't require the child to have a cell phone or to have to locate a meeting place, which might be difficult if they're in a place like Disneyland. So once again, our method included rules, role-playing, and praise. Let's head back outside and learn about some of these rules.
They should yell out loud. Can't find my mom, help me.
Maybe yell out and scream for help.
All right, scream really loud,
Correct.
and if that doesn't work, then,
I don't know.
well, they could seek help from someone.
Find an adult.
Yeah, go to a vendor, you know, and say I'm lost.
Find an adult, like a police officer or a fireman or an employee in the store, and tell them, and maybe they can help you contact your parent. It really is that simple. You don't need to get your kid a cell phone. You don't need to establish a meeting place that they might not be able to find when they're lost and panicking. And you definitely don't need to give them a compass. All your kid has to do is 3 things. First, yell mom or dad real loud. 2, if that doesn't work, find an employee. And then 3rd, tell the employee they're lost. If they can't locate an employee, then tell them to find a mother with children, because that's probably the safest person to approach. I'm not saying that most men are predators, but most predators are men. That is a fact. I've read it in a fortune cookie. All right, so you've gone over the rules with your kid, and you've quizzed them, and they're able to tell you the correct responses so they understand the rules. But is that enough? How do you know they're gonna perform correctly in a real-world setting? You need to get out there and find out if they can actually do it. So you'd go over the rules and tell them, like, do this, do that, but how would you know if they actually knew what to do? If you wanted to shoot a basketball, and I just told you, oh, when you shoot a basketball, do this, this, and this.
I never practiced.
You never practice, yeah, so it don't matter how many times we go over the rules or how well you can repeat them back to me. It's not going to change until you get on the court and practice.
Maybe do like a, a little skit with them.
Like a role play?
Role play, yeah.
Your child, you're lost in the toy aisle.
Okay.
What do you do? I'm an attendant, walking around.
I'm lost, I don't know where my mom is.
And then once you practice, you just like praise them, give them feedback, like, good job, you did it.
Reinforcing it.
Yes, this woman wins the prize for best comment. She pointed out the most important part of learning, reinforcement. Now, in our study, we used praise, but for your kid, you might have to use something else. You might have to buy them a treat, a toy, take them to their favorite restaurant where they can eat unhealthy food and run around and climb through plastic tunnels that have the unmistakable scent of urine, and then play games, spending $20 to get a plastic little spider ring that they will eventually lose in a ball pit. The point is, you need to reward your child for correctly demonstrating what you've been teaching them.
Okay, I'm gonna call her. Hello, your child. Ryan Ouch is missing. There you go.
Woohoo!
Yay!
So you tested it out
I'll
in the
try.
store to make sure I knew it. I had the rules,
Yes.
we role played it, and you made sure I knew it, and then like you said, good job, and all that. Now we're good to go.
We're good to go.
All right.
Done?
High five right there.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Give your child the rules, get out there and practice, and reward your child for responding correctly. For more information, please visit us online at autismresearchgroup.org. I'm Ryan Bergstrom. Thanks for watching. Yes, ding, no. Yes, this woman wins the first. Yes, this woman. Yes, this woman wins the best. Yes, this woman wins the first place. Yes, this woman wins. Why can't I say woman? Yes, this woman wins. What's the line? Yes!
Welcome back to Autism Live. I am so thrilled and excited because we have a guest now that's joining us via Skype from Autism Speaks. It is Dr. Paul Wong, and he is Autism Speaks Senior Vice President and Head of Medical Research. He is also a developmental behavioral pediatrician. Dr. Wong, thank you so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm thrilled to have you here, and we've asked you to come specifically to talk about a new initiative that Autism Speaks has that's for research for the gut-brain connection. Can you tell us what this new initiative is, what the gut-brain connection might be, and why this is so exciting?
We really are very excited about this. So we've put out what we call an RFA. That's a request for applications, a request for grant applications for researchers, scientists from anywhere around the world, really, to send in to us their ideas on what kind of research we should be doing right now to better understand the connection between the gut, the gastrointestinal tract, and the behavioral processes that are the core part of autism. So we understand more and more that, first of all, a lot of people with autism have gut problems, have GI problems. That is something that I think families have known for a long time. A little bit sad to say, but I think it took doctors, it took the research community a while to be convinced of that. But now they are convinced. There's been great research over the last 2 years, some of it coming from California, from what they call the CHARGE study, which is really headquartered at the Mind Institute out there in Sacramento. And then also an even bigger study coming from our own Autism Speaks Autism Treatment Network, just showing how very common these GI problems are. And of course, there's a range of those problems, everything from constipation to diarrhea to unexplained apparent, abdominal pain, gastrointestinal pain. A lot of food problems, food allergies, food aversions, bad reactions apparently when certain foods are ingested. We know that there are a lot of these issues. We don't understand them well enough, and we don't understand exactly what kind of impact they have on the other behavioral problems that we see in autism, things that don't seem like they're related to the gut, but a lot of people are suggesting could be. Maybe some of the communication problems, maybe some of the social problems. It really seems like a lot of the anxiety issues that we see in autism might be related to GI issues. So we are asking for researchers' best ideas on how to explore that, and we're going to put at least $1.5 million, potentially more, behind that research effort.
In fact, in the release that you say that you guys have put out, it says that you are going to be able to give potentially multiple $500,000 grants for a period of up to 3 years. Is that correct?
That's right. The largest, the cap on the size of the grant is $500,000 a year for 3 years. So that's the largest any one grant can be. But if we have more than one great idea, more than one grant application that really looks promising, we will try to find the money to fund multiple grants.
This is so exciting, and I know parents are going to want more information about this study. And if there's a research group out there, I'm hoping that they're finding out where to get information. Where should people go, Dr. Wong, to find out more?
The best place to go is our website, autismspeaks.org. It's one of the headline stories, that switches, that sort of scrolls between a few different headline stories. You can also look at the science section of our website, and there's a full announcement there.
It's incredibly exciting, and I wanted to take just a second to go through some of the different things that the research that you've put out and said, here are some specific areas that we're interested in. That on here on the list, it says understanding the relationship between the gut process, the brain function, and autism symptoms, as you've said. But I love on here that you want to develop medical guidelines for evaluating individuals with autism for GI problems, because I think a lot of times it's being overlooked. Could you talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We know that these gut problems are very frequent, something as common as constipation. But we know that sometimes it's there and nobody suspects it, not even the parents on occasion. So our question is, when a child is diagnosed with autism, what should the workup be? How thoroughly should we look to evaluate them for a possible GI problem? one question, for instance, is should everybody get an X-ray of their abdomen to look for constipation? It seems like an innocent enough procedure, but of course it costs money. Of course, there's radiation exposure involved. Some individuals with autism won't be real cooperative with an X-ray. So the question is, how hard should we push? Should we really push for everybody to have an X-ray? Or maybe there are other signs we can look for, and we can decide who does and who doesn't need an X-ray based on those other signs. So that's just one question. An X-ray, an ultrasound. Some people think that colonoscopies, GI scope procedures should be done on a lot more people with autism than they're currently being done. So the question is, when should those be done? On whom should they be done? Is there some sign we can get either in the physical exam or some sort of behavior that correlates that, or maybe correlates with GE reflux, with esophagitis? We just don't know yet, how often we should be exposing people to the risks of X-rays, of scopes, of anesthesia that you need for scopes. But we don't want to overlook cases that are there and that really need treatment and would benefit from treatment.
Really remarkable. And then as I continue on in this list, because I want people to know how far-reaching, this is really unprecedented what you guys are doing. It's wonderful. Interventions that can correct or improve abnormal gut microflora or gut inflammation. So we can be looking at inflammation there, and I'm guessing that yeast can be included in all of this as well.
Yeah, it sure could, and that's an open question. I know that a lot of people in the community believe that yeast play a role in the gut problems and maybe in some of the behavioral issues associated with autism. Honestly, I don't feel that the data are there to prove that, but we're open to that idea. We're open to exploring that if somebody can tell us, really how that question can be answered. What we're really excited about, and on that particular bullet point that you were just highlighting, is the potential for probiotics to make a difference in people with autism. Again, this is something that some families have found potentially useful. They see improvements when they start administering a probiotic to their child. Is that just coincidence, or is there something more than that going on? There's great research that's been coming out in pediatrics, in children who don't have autism, really proving how probiotics can help. They can help with colic in the infants who have that. Looks more and more like it can also help prevent colic just by giving it to an infant who doesn't have it yet. Might also help with diarrhea in some infants. So probiotics, the data are really starting to pile up there, showing their use outside of autism. In autism, there hasn't been good research yet, but there was a very interesting and excellent research article published late last year looking at the effects of probiotics in mice that have autism-like symptoms. So of course that's just mice, and mice are a far cry from people, really, a lot simpler kind of being, a mouse. But they have these mice that show deficits in social behaviors, that show repetitive behaviors excessively, and they can correct some of these symptoms by treating those mice with probiotics.
It's very exciting, and I'm glad that you are, as you said, there hasn't been enough research, and I'm glad that your willingness is there, that we're going to see some research come out of this. And I don't want to leave the other things out of here, but you also, I love this, that you are including GI treatments that improve autism symptoms and brain function, and an understanding of how autism and associated medical conditions can affect someone's nutritional health, so you're not leaving nutrition out of it, and then understanding the mechanisms that link GI and nervous system process in individuals with autism. This is all very exciting, and again, we want to urge people to go to Autism Speaks, and if you go to the science portion, you can find out much more information about this. Dr. Wang, I'd love to keep you for one more segment to ask you a question about medical advances. Have you got time to stick with us?
Definitely.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and talk more with Dr. Paul Wang. Stick with us.
The Institute for Behavioral Training provides courses in applied behavior analysis for the treatment of autism. Access IBT e-learning videos on the move and learn at your own pace.
I'm going to talk a little bit about intensity.
IBT e-learning makes any location your classroom on the go.
So our objectives for today are to really learn what is autism and how is it diagnosed.
Get professional guidance with IBT face-to-face training. IBT face-to-face training courses prepare you to effectively implement ABA-based interventions. Choose between small group and one-to-one instruction. Earn BCBA supervision hours via one-to-one video conferencing.
So I had a chance to review your BIP today. You know what? It looked really good. You did a good job with it.
IBT continuing education courses. Earn credit through webinars, conferences, article reviews, and e-learning videos. You can learn more at ibehavioraltraining.com. IBT, 360 degrees of ABA training.
Welcome back to Autism Live. We are so thrilled that via Skype we have with us Dr. Paul Wong. He is Autism Speaks Senior Vice President and Head of Medical Research. And we were just talking during the break, and I was saying how much I appreciated Dr. Wong's drive to find out more information, and you were saying very graciously how important you feel it is to listen to what parents have to say. And I think that's a wonderful statement. And I wanted to make sure that we included it because we weren't on the air when you were saying it. And I think parents appreciate that when doctors of your expertise are willing to listen. It's a very exciting thing.
Absolutely. As I was saying during the break, I don't practice medicine anymore. But when I did, I learned that you have to listen to what the parents say. If they say that there is some issue, some problem, then there is. We may not understand it. The parents may not have the right interpretation of it, but something's going on, and you have to try to figure out what that is.
And that attitude is just so healing for all of us. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful position that you're coming from. Now, I asked you to come back because all this week we're talking about advances in the medical treatment for autism. And I would love to know from you, what do you think the two biggest advances have been in recent years in the medical treatment of autism?
It's sometimes it feels agonizingly slow. Sometimes it feels tough to narrow it down to two. I think what the mouse study that I was describing before the break was one of the most exciting things that we've heard about recently, and then also those companion pediatric research studies that are done not in autism but in infants with colic, and really showing the potential of probiotics to influence behavior. Colic, after all, is a behavior, inconsolable crying, the kind of irritability, maybe it's based on anxiety. Obviously, infants can't tell us that. Something that might well be related to what's going on in autism, and it's incredible to see the potential of probiotics there.
It's a very exciting thing, and of course we see that mainstream advice 10 years ago, when somebody said to me, you should put your child on a probiotic, I had no idea what that meant. And you can't even turn on a television now without watching a commercial talking about the benefits of probiotics. It's very mainstream now, and we'll be thrilled to find more research talking about how effective this could be for our kids with autism. So I've made you narrow it down to two. Is there anything else that you'd want to add?
It's more sort of on the side of doctors and the medical community catching up to parents maybe. But we're also realizing how big an issue sleep is for many people with autism, both younger and older. A lot of sleep problems, getting to sleep, staying asleep, waking up too early. Of course, when your sleep is compromised, that affects your behavior during the daytime and actually affects the behavior of everybody in the family when sleep is compromised. So we appreciate more and more how important it is to address that. And we're very proud of some guidelines that we've put out through the Autism Speaks Autism Treatment Network, advising doctors always to ask about sleep with the families that are affected by autism, and the need to address sleep issues when they are present.
Well, Dr. Wong, I thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I know that you're a very busy individual and working on some very high-level things for all of us, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be here, and we are thrilled and want to congratulate you and celebrate with you on this new initiative to further research and put some money into research for the gut-brain connection.
Thank you very much. I hope we'll have results to report back to you.
I can't wait to hear, and we'll have a space for you here when you have any results, anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Really remarkable. This is groundbreaking, the level of research that will be done in an area that, as he said, a lot of us as parents have been saying for a long time, this is what I see in my child, and now the research is going to be done at a very high level. So appreciate that. So excited about that. We're going to take a break now. We're going to go to the A Word. This is the ongoing documentary being made here at the Center for Autism and Related Disorders, following a little boy as he starts his early behavioral intervention. So take a look, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Matt Asner, the Executive Director of the Southern California chapter of Autism Speaks, talking about some of the really fun events that they have planned. Oh my gosh, it's very exciting what LA is going to be doing for Autism Awareness Month. But first, the A Word.
Pirate.
Penguin. Is he going to come out of the egg?
Egg, see?
Egg.
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 Egg. Can you say g? Say egg. Egg. You're
Egg.
trying. Miss Jessica's here.
Oh,
Yay!
it's going to be a fun day.
Yay! Hi, friends. Hi, Miss Jessica.
Hi,
Miss Jessica.
What's this? Baby? Baby? Who's this? Is this a mommy? Yeah? Who else is in here? Is this a daddy? Daddy? That's a daddy? Daddy. And a mommy. And a what? And a what? Say, and a baby. Does the baby go in here? Say, sit down. Say, sit down. Yeah, you gonna go inside? Whoa! Woo, you gonna fly in the sky? There, let's go. Up the stairs. Let's go sit down. Yeah, sit down. Ooh. Okay, take off. Bye. See you later. Right now we're working on functional pretend play, which involves having him play with toys appropriately. For instance, having an airplane and putting the people in the airplane and flying it appropriately, so that when he does go to preschool, because other kids are doing imaginative play too, creative play, so he would be able to play with the other kids as well, appropriately and functionally. So right now it's just a lot of imitation, but once you just model for him a couple times, he can play with it, no problem. So with the functional pretend play program, with the kitchen set and everything, it's really good for him, because since he has so many issues with feeding, he can play with the spoons, the forks, and not worry about having to actually feed himself anything. He can pretend to feed himself, feed me, feed the baby. There isn't an outcome where he has to eat anything at all. Look, go. You tried. Nice job. Very good. So yeah, so having and handling fake food isn't a problem, but when it comes to actually seeing real food, he can totally tell the difference, and he sometimes just refuses, or most of the time just doesn't even touch it, versus all these things, he has no problem. Cut. Good job. You want to peel the orange? What is this? Say orange. Here, peel it. There you go. Nice job. His mom has been having children shoot themselves, like brushing their teeth, jumping. And the other day, she showed me one where the kids were jumping. And he was watching it, and after that, he was actually jumping and imitating them too. And he actually got air, which we've been working on for a couple weeks already. When he sees the kids actually talking to him, he wants to do it even more.
So these are made by friends of yours?
Yeah, they posted them onto his website called Watch Me, Jack Riley.
And who came up with that idea?
That was my idea because he likes to watch kids on TV. and he thinks it's all very funny. But we need to get them eating. I think that will help him tremendously. Do you want to watch the kids jump now? They're talking to you! Bye, Jack Riley. Do you want to watch the ABCs or do you want to watch jumping again? ABCs or jumping? Jumping. You made that clear. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
It's a combination of some of those letters.
P, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X,
X, Y,
Z. Yay! Do you want to make your sounds?
Who's that? Bobby. Yeah. And who's that over there? Bobby. No, who's that over there? Daddy. Yeah, that's Daddy. How about over there? Who's that?
Jessica, I don't know my name. It's too hard.
Jessica. Yeah, but the hard ones are the ones he breaks out with without problem.
Yeah, yellow.
We were playing with
Yellow came out of nowhere.
Riley.
Yellow and Riley, yeah, Jack.
We were playing with the dolls, and I named the baby, the mommy, and the daddy, and he said Bommy.
Yeah, I think I'm getting the M now.
It's getting closer.
I have him say milk in the morning,
Not to start
and
over,
now I'm
Noah.
just starting with instead of because if I say milk, he'll say ba.
Oh.
So if I say milk, he'll say ba.
Ba.
How old are you?
Daddy.
Daddy. Yeah.
Bye.
How old are you?
Ho.
How old?
Two.
Two.
What's your name? What's your name? Can you say Jack?
Riley.
Jack Riley.
Riley.
Riley. Riley.
That's clear.
Can you say Jack Riley?
Tell Riley.
Yay!
Very good. How old are you? How old are you?
How old are you?
4.
How old are you, Jack? Hey. Jack.
He likes looking at you guys through this so much.
How old are you?
Are you 2?
Are you 468? No. How old is Jack? How old is Jack? Say, I'm 2.
I'm 2.
Yay! Good job.
I'm 2. I'm 2 also.
Is Daddy 2?
I'm too many.
Welcome back to Autism Live. So thrilled to welcome back Matt Asner. He is the executive director of the Southern California chapter of, I want to say Los Angeles, of Autism Speaks.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful credential, but you're also an autism dad and you're an autism brother.
I am.
And those are very important credentials to add to your list of many other credentials. And we're thrilled to have you here today, and we want to talk about all the different things that you have set in motion for Los Angeles. We know that we're less than a week away from April 1st, and April 1st starts an entire month of different people call it different things: autism awareness, autism action, autism everything, right? But this is an opportunity for autism to be at the forefront and for us to take opportunities to get together, share information, celebrate the fact that money is being raised.
Yes.
Right? To help more people. And I would argue that you're at the forefront of all that because you have more things going on than a traveling band on MTV.
It's pretty crazy.
So let's talk about.
And it's all in here, Shannon.
Yeah,
It's all in there.
I'm getting that. It's a steel trap there.
It is.
I wish I had it. I'm not a steel trap today, as we've noticed. But let's start because we have a limited amount of time with Mr. Asner. I want you to talk a little bit about this event that you have called Light Up the Blues.
Exactly. Light Up the Blues. It's our second one. Last year we did it at Club Nokia.
Okay.
And this is a concert we're having. Last year was the first one, and we do it with Kristen and Steven Stills. And they are, and basically, it is a family concert.
Yeah.
It is a Stills family concert. And we are graciously accepted into their family for the evening.
That's a lovely thing.
And they're incredible people. And I've had nothing but an incredible time working with Kristen and Stephen and Chris Stills on this concert last year and this year. Last year we had Crosby, Stills and Nash, Ryan Adams, Lucinda Williams, Ricky Lee Jones, incredible lineup. And this year we have Crosby, Stills and Nash, John Mayer, Brandi Carlile.
You need to say that again, just in case people missed that.
Crosby, Stills and Nash, John Mayer, and Brandi Carlile, and but one of the most impressive things about this concert is that we have 3 performers, actually 4 if you count Neil Katz, who's going to give a special speech from the stage, which Neil Katz is a nonverbal, the son of Elaine Hall, who's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
And Neil's going to give a speech from the stage, which is going to be great. And we have 3 performers who are on the spectrum. Last year we had 3 performers. This year we have 3 performers.
Okay.
And the amazing thing about this is, they're all young, and they're all musicians. They're all, musicians, and they all rose to the occasion of this event. And they're, equals to these legends of music.
Yeah.
For that night, and it was incredible. It was really amazing. Last year we had Nick Guzman, Lexington Aaron, and Rio Wiles. And Rio Wiles is joining us again this year.
Okay.
He's going to collaborate with a gentleman named George Watsky.
Okay.
And it's going to be wonderfully special. And then we also have Adam Walden, who's going to play the cello.
Okay.
And Zoli Mora and the Strange Kind.
Wonderful.
And it's going to be incredible. We're really excited. It's going to be amazing. And the first concert, the first one we did, which was last year on April 13th, is going to be released on iTunes on April 1st.
Remarkable.
As a movie, as a concert film.
And everybody needs to know that the purpose of all of these events, you're raising money and raising awareness at the same time.
Yes.
So let's start with this year's event, If people want to go to this event, what do they need to do?
Well,
are you sold out already?
I've got some bad news.
Are you sold out already?
Well, the tickets went on sale about 4 weeks ago, and we sold out in about 30 seconds.
Okay, so
now that said,
yeah,
there might be an outside chance, and I would check with I would keep checking on Ticketmaster because there might be an outside chance that a couple go on sale here and there.
Okay.
So I would definitely look into that and get on a wait list or whatever Ticketmaster has.
Okay. But sold out, which is great for fundraising. That's
wonderful.
Truly, truly amazing. Well before the event, you're way sold out. And what date is the event again?
The event is on April 5th. Saturday, April 5th.
Okay. But if they missed last year's
yes.
They have an opportunity to see it and to participate in additional fundraising.
Yes.
You mentioned that it's going to be available on iTunes. So what do they need to look up? Can they just say Light Up the Blues? What's it going to be titled?
They can go to iTunes on April 1st and search for Light Up the Blues.
Okay.
And it will appear magically.
All right.
And I believe that the standard def version is $4.99.
Okay.
And the HD version, in all its glory, is I think $7.99.
A great, great price.
And all of that, there's a small, I think, distribution fee that's paid to iTunes, but all of the everything else goes directly to Autism Speaks.
Really remarkable. So, and you've brought a clip from
it's a trailer.
A trailer. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that. Emily's going to cue that up so that you can see how exciting this was. Here it is.
What's up, party people?
Oh my God, Christopher.
Lucinda Williams.
Mr. Dunkel.
Ricky Lee Jones. Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
And all these people who are participating tonight, when they lend their names and their voices to this mission, it opens the minds and hearts of people all over the country.
And there's a rose in a mystic cloud, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you love.
And I'm pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. What puzzling you must be the nature of my game. It's time to stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
I think the first thing you've got to do is become aware of what autism really is. autismspeaks.org. Go there.
Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh. And know they love. This might be the greatest concert of all time.
Thank you.
Well, as Emily just said, well, almost on April 1st, so less than a week, and you can get that on iTunes. And I got a little verklempt.
Yeah.
We had Nick Guzman on the show the day before the concert last year. And I had met Nick at one of the Art of Autism events, and his mom gave me a CD, and they said that they were coming back and that he could be on the show. And so I knew how excited he was to be on. And by that point, I was friends on Facebook with his mother, and so she was posting individual shots. And I knew from talking with them that they were going to do the fabulous Teach Your Children. I get emotional every time I hear that song. Forget it. I mean, that's the be all and end all as a parent, right?
It's incredible.
And music is a great leveler. You know, it evens, and you're somebody who has ties in the music industry and have spent a large portion of your career in the music industry, and you like it levels people.
Well, it's the universal language.
It is, and to see that array of people standing up there to give their time, and of course, when we have children on the autism spectrum, teach your children well takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, it really does.
So what a remarkable thing that, first of all, that group of people and you know, more coming this year are willing to participate in this to raise funds and raise awareness. And what an amazing job you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It's really incredible.
I do it because it's my passion, and I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do something I really love to do, and I get to talk to people about this. And I honestly believe it's one of the greatest issues of our day.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if I can play a small part in what's going on, or a large part in what's going on, I want to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And you're doing it in a way, and we're going to talk about some of the other events, you're doing it in a way that you're finding positives and connecting people with positives, and I think that that's really important too.
And actually, that's one of the things I want to say about this concert is, you know, a lot of people, seem to feel that you know, that it's all negative, that autism is only negative. And you know what? experiencing this concert and putting this concert on, it was an incredible highlight of some of the positives of these incredible individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, they have incredible gifts. I mean, if you download the iTunes version,
which you must do.
Which you must do.
You must.
You have Lexington Aaron singing like an angel.
Wow.
You have Nick up there looking like the fourth member or the fifth member of Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yes.
And then you've got Rio Wiles, who's tearing the house down. I mean, he literally tears the roof off the building and eats it and.
Chews it up and spits it out.
Chews it up and spits it out. And he is he's representing Venice.
There we go.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It was incredible for me as a spectator at the concert to see the audience affected by these individuals. It was a gift.
Yeah.
To me.
Well, and I have to say, people talk about, well, it's Autism Awareness Month, and a lot of people say, oh, do we really need more awareness? And I go back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago. It's almost a month ago now, and it was a Mardi Gras for autism, and it was pouring down rain, and Autism Speaks was there, and
that's Larry's event. Yeah.
Yes, Larry Hauser from Fullerton Cares. Amazing, amazing event. Well attended in pouring down rain, and still kids were having a good time. They were playing all these games. They were raising awareness. They were raising money. And as we were packing everything up, and there was, I mean, everything you owned was wet by the time you were done. Even though we were under tents, I mean, we were waterlogged. And there was a woman running out of a restaurant that was close by, and she saw the tents were starting to come down, and she was very well dressed with her husband, and she was running by, and she goes, oh, did you guys have fun with whatever it was you were doing? And I said, yeah, we had a great time. And she said, no, what was it? And I said, it was a Mardi Gras for autism. And she said, oh, autism. What a horrible tragedy.
Right.
And I said, and she was running away, and I almost tackled her, and I said, no, I can't let you leave now. I can't let you leave with that. Did you not see how many smiling faces? I can't let, no.
Right,
I ended up talking to her for a half an hour. And I want to say to everybody, if you think that autism awareness is a thing that's past, that we're done with that, that was just a well-educated woman running out of a restaurant who had no idea. And that was what she felt, and that's what a lot of people think.
Exactly.
Job is not done.
Exactly.
So I'm thrilled that you have these wonderful events that create good awareness, but you're also raising money at the same time. So, but it's not, and you could pretty much do that, and we would all go, good job, Matt,
Right.
that's enough.
That's not it.
But it's not it.
No.
Wait, folks, there's more.
But wait.
There's more. So, you got some other events going on.
Yeah, well, we have, let's see, we have a Kings game on the 2nd,
Yes.
which is going to be fun.
And the 2nd is a very big day all the way around.
Of course.
It is World Autism Awareness Day, but you have an initiative that it's not the light up the blues, it's light it up blue.
So the Kings are partnering with us to have some fun on the ice that night, have one of our families drop the puck. Adam Levine, who's an agent in Hollywood, his son's going to drop the puck.
Wonderful.
One of our teams at the walk. And we have LAX is going to light the pylons blue.
Nice.
Yeah,
is that the first time that's happening?
I think it happened once a couple of years ago. But
Okay.
I think they came back and said they wanted to do it. City National Plaza downtown.
Yes.
They're going to light up blue.
Nice.
Grand Park is lighting their fountain blue.
Nice.
And I believe the Variety Building, it's not called that anymore, but where Variety used to be
Yes.
on Wilshire,
Yeah.
they're going to blue out, I think, the 2nd and 3rd floor windows of their buildings. And I think,
Okay.
we also have, like, the Disney Channel building down in Burbank. I think they always go blue. So, you'll drive around on April 2nd, and you'll see some blue buildings. You'll know exactly what it's for.
Yes.
It's for, to call attention to the to autism.
Yeah. And if you doubt that that's an important thing, I will tell you that every year, you know, we decorate and put up blue lights in whatever way we can in whatever place that we're at. Years ago, when we were in the teeniest, tiniest little apartment, it was one string of lights, and neighbors came up and said, "What are you doing? Why do you have blue lights up today?"
Is it Hanukkah? What's happening?
Right. And this last year, our HOA gave us a ticket and said we needed to take down our Christmas lights.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. And I said, "Oh, no, these are not Christmas lights, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm glad you asked." And it starts a conversation.
Of course.
And that's what it's about. It's a conversation starter. And if you put up blue lights, someone will ask, and they may not ask you, they might ask your neighbor, "Why do they have blue lights?" But it is a conversation starter, and we need so many more of those.
And you know, people out there might be thinking, well, where do I get a blue light? What do I do? How do I get a blue light? And it's very simple. You go to Home Depot, and you can buy your blue bulbs there.
They're right in the front of the store right now. Very inexpensive, and
it's like $1.50 or
it's
$1.25.
really small. And does a portion of that sale go to Autism Speaks? Okay, great. Very simple thing that you can do, and of course you encourage people to wear blue on that day.
Absolutely.
If the world opened its eyes on that day and saw a sea of blue, it would not be the worst thing that could happen.
No, it wouldn't. No, I mean, we have to call attention to this as often as possible. This is, and I keep saying this, it's one of the greatest issues of our day.
Yes.
It's not going away. It's a lifelong situation, and we have to keep drawing attention to it because autism is invisible for the most part. And if you're not affected by it, you need to be reminded of it.
Yeah, and be a part of the conversations.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a break and come back, though, and talk about another huge event that happens, the walk.
Yes.
And the walks take place all around the country, but I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the LA Walk. It's something that's important to both of us, to you in a new way in the last couple of years, but it is a touchstone for a lot of families here in Los Angeles. So stick with us. We're going to come back and talk about what that is and when it is with Mr. Matt Asner.
Hi, welcome to Camp Discovery, a free-to-play suite of fun, interactive learning games for kids 2 and up, designed by experts in autism. Camp Discovery will open your early learner to a world of new skills, shapes, numbers, colors, locations, emotions, and more. Let's get started.
Please choose a level.
Objects. First, Camp Discovery's Intelligent Preference Assessment determines your child's preferred reward for choosing correctly. Okay, got it. Let's play. Camp Discovery creates a motivating learning environment for your child by minimizing incorrect responses and maximizing successful ones.
Find the shoes.
Respond correctly and your child is rewarded with their favorite animations.
You did it.
Respond incorrectly, and our unique prompting system guides your child to the correct answer by making it the largest choice.
That's not it. Try again. Way to go.
Continue to answer correctly, and the size gradually reduces until the child makes the correct choice independently.
You win.
Success! Rewards motivate learning. Complete a round, and your child is rewarded with a fun mini-game. Track your child's progress with easy-to-read graphs. Multiple settings options allow you to customize Camp Discovery to your child's unique needs. All this in one single app, the Camp Discovery app, available for free on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon Store.
Welcome back to Autism Live. I am here with the fabulous Mr. Matt Asner. He is the executive director of the Southern California chapter of Autism Speaks. And we've been talking with him, but you're also an autism dad and an autism brother. And we've been talking with him about some of the different events that the Los Angeles chapter is putting together for Autism Awareness Month, which starts in less than a week. One of the biggest events yearly that has been done in Los Angeles is the amazing Walk for Autism.
Yes.
And you are the head of that as the executive director of Southern California chapter of Autism Speaks. And so this has to be a huge undertaking for you, a lot of prep.
It is. It's massive. We're talking about, it's not just a walk, it's a resource fair.
Yes.
And it's a fair. I mean, it's It's a major event. I think we've been talking with the Rose Bowl for a couple of months now, and we are, on a par with any of their major events. I mean, we're talking 50, 60,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's what the amazing thing about the walk, and this is why I'm here. I'm going to tell you, this is why I'm here. You go to this walk, and it is a sea of hope.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You go there and you feel different, and it's a wonderful feeling.
It is.
So I mean, you can expect to see. There's music. There's answers.
Yeah.
There's togetherness.
Yeah.
Brotherhood, sisterhood.
There's something for
parenthood.
everyone. Yeah. And literally and figuratively.
There's something for everyone, and you get a little exercise. Get out there on a nice April day, and it's a beautiful experience, and it continues to grow.
It does. And so let's start with the basics. What day is it happening on this year?
April 26th.
Okay. And the walk actually starts at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, I mean, the festivities start at 9 and the walk starts at 10. And I think we're having a rolling start again this year. So, we'll be kind of starting the walk and people can walk, on a rolling basis.
And usually, because I do a whole little show about this always on my own and talk about, this is why you have to go and this is what you need to make sure you do. And at different phases, it's different things. But if you need any information about anything and you live in the Los Angeles area, get there early and go to the resource fair and have a couple of things in mind that you want to stop and talk to people, but take one of the free bags that they give you and take one of every piece of paper and every little thing that everybody gives you so that you have time to go through it later on, because it's so massive. You won't get through it unless you are at a pretty good clip.
Very true.
But if later on, when you've honed your program a little bit, you go there and I need to talk to this person.
I'm going to make my rounds.
I'm gonna go here, but I have to talk to this person. I have to talk to that person. Because I want to know. I remember one year I went and I said, I know that they have a booth there with the assistance dogs, and I'm talking to the assistance dog people this year. And what I found out was that my child didn't need an assistant dog, but still, I found that out at the fair, right? And we got a different kind of dog. But it is incredible, but at some point, always, you have to lift your head up and look.
Exactly.
And see the magnitude. If you ever...
Well, I'll give you an example. One of our, excuse me. That was very rude of my phone to do that. One of the big sponsors of the walk, our presenting sponsors, Vons.
Yes.
And the first year they came out, I was standing up on stage with them, and we were looking at the sea of people. I mean, there's no other way of, you just can't believe how many people are there. It's beautiful. And he was kind of saying to me, my God, this is incredible. He said, if I had known this, we would have been here years ago.
Yeah.
And he was just really moved by it.
Yeah.
And they've been a great partner. Vons has been an amazing partner. They have
And for people around the country, Vons is a really good grocery store here in Los Angeles that carries a lot of things. Their gluten-free section has grown exponentially. It's amazing what you can get there.
And they have an amazing disability program where they actually employ people with disabilities, and they've been great in that area.
Well, that's a remarkable thing as well.
And we actually featured them in our last newsletter because we now have an employment corner in our newsletter. This year, this month, we're going to feature Sparrow Vineyards. So you should have them on the show.
Okay.
That's Mark Woodsmall.
All right.
Yeah.
The Woodsmalls always give the best bag at the resource fair.
Right.
They're attorneys here in Los Angeles, and they have an amazing bag. You can always see me carrying a Woodsmall bag, and a wonderful gentleman too that I've had the opportunity to meet, and he's he's one of the good guys.
Yeah. Mark and Eva are incredible people. They're incredibly generous, and they're doing this incredible, amazing thing with this vineyard, and they're creating this model, this progressive model that hopefully will work, and
we'll have to get him
employ
on the show.
people.
We'll have to do that. But honestly, a remarkable event, because you will, if you've ever felt alone on this journey, and I would venture that every single person who is in this community has at some point felt like they were alone on the journey, this puts the end of it.
You will not leave there
you can't feel
feeling alone.
You can't.
No.
And if your child has a meltdown, and I've had the experience of having my child have a meltdown at the fair, it is an entirely entirely different experience than if your child has a meltdown any other place on the face of the earth.
It's all okay.
It's all okay.
Yeah. And there's music, you know.
Yes.
This year, I believe we're going to have a little bit of an 80s kind of theme.
Yeah.
So we'll have a bit of an 80s band.
That's exciting to me. I'm an 80s kind of girl.
First time we've had a band in a little while, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Any big stars that you already have lined up that you know will be there?
A couple of them. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but
he's keeping his cards close to his vest, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Well, I'll give you the dish on it afterwards because I will be there at the walk. In the previous years, we've been out and about, and we're going to be stationary for a large part of it. So if you're coming, make sure you find me at the booth that I will be at.
One thing I did want to mention is that, you know, parking seems to be an issue for everyone at the walk. So this year we've decided to actually sell preferred parking.
Ooh.
So if you're interested in preferred parking, you don't need to buy preferred parking, but if you're interested in buying preferred parking, you can go to our website, walknowforautismspeaks.org. And LA.
Okay.
And it's on the main page, and you can just link to it, and we will send you out a pass.
Okay.
That you can present when you get there.
Okay, so I have a question then about the parking.
Okay.
Does that I would assume that allows you to park close.
Yeah.
Does it allow you to leave
Yes,
whenever
it does.
you want, including after the walk has started?
Yes, it does.
Well, see, now that is a good idea, Mr.
It's
Aston.
worth every penny.
One of the years I went to the walk, and I was determined that we had too many things on our plate. We had to get to a Little League game. And so we were going to go do the resource fair and leave as the walk was starting so that we could get to the Little League game. But in past years, depending on where you park, once the walk starts, and it's a safety issue.
Absolutely.
And it's important that we be safe above all. But I was stuck for an hour and a half in the car with a screaming child that we couldn't get to the Little League game because I couldn't go.
Yeah.
I would have paid to be in a place that I knew I could safely get out and not disrupt anybody. I would have paid good money to do that.
Yeah. So now you're able to do it. I mean, you know.
Good idea.
As I said earlier, you know, we're growing every year, and we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to grow with the walk. You know, so there's going to be lots of new ideas that happen in the next couple of years. Yeah. You know, we need to grow with the walk.
And there are things for kids to do at the walk.
Well, every resource vendor should have...
They're required.
They're required to have a kid-friendly activity.
Yes.
So while you talk to them about your needs and you finding answers, your child can participate in a game of some sort or, you know, some sort of fun activity at each of the resource vendors. And we're talking about 125 resource vendors, I think. Is what we have.
It's
so
a lot.
I think we're the largest resource fair out there.
Yeah.
I think. So, you know, it's a great, you know, you will not have a bad time at our walk.
No,
it's not gonna happen.
You'll have a good time.
You'll find answers, you'll have fun, you'll hear good music.
And if you're a crabby in there and not having a good time, stop by and see us. We'll tell you exactly what you need to do to have fun. Because there's fun to be had.
Bounce houses.
Yes. So
lots of fun.
You do need to, even though it's in April, you need to have sunscreen and have head coverage. It gets very hot. It's cold in the morning. It's that layered thing. Cold in the morning, and then it gets just unbelievably hot, like we're on the sun every year.
I think I've been there 6 years now, 6 or 7 years, 6 or 7, and it has been hot 5 of those times.
Well,
and really hot.
Yeah.
And then the rest, you know, kind of we're wonderfully cool and nice.
Well, you know, and I think I've been to like 7 or I think it's 7 now that I've been to. I'd have to stop and think about it. But I always, you know, I'm at a point in my life where I can have a hot flash in a freezer, so it's always hot to me.
Right.
So in any case, TMI, right? Everybody knows I talk about the hot flashes all the time here, and the guests always comment on how cold it is in the studio, and I go take a look.
I have hot flashes.
I would believe that. I think that men, you know, probably the same thing.
I've always had them.
But oh really?
Yeah, but I understand what you're going through a little bit. A little bit.
It's just so very much fun not. But anyway, I digress. We have to take a break. Do you need to go, or can you stick around for a few minutes?
I can stick around for a few minutes.
Okay, we're going to keep Matt for a couple more minutes, so stick with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Bryce Myler, and I'm the Contracts Director for the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. I've been here for about 5 years. CARD has several employees with many years of insurance experience, dealing with insurance, dealing with pre-authorizations, dealing with discovering whether there's coverage or not. So we have more experience than any ABA provider that I've ever come across. So for a prospective client, somebody that may be interested in, ABA therapy and what CARD has to offer, we have a special 800 number, and you call that number. They will talk to you about what we have to offer, how ABA works. He'll ask you for the front and back of your ID card, and then we check to see if you do or do not have coverage. If you have coverage for ABA therapy, we try to do whatever we can to set it up where we can bill for you and you don't have to fight with the insurance company every month to get your claims paid. For California residents, we recently did a series of insurance trainings all over the state, and you can click on the link below to watch pretty much the full presentation. It has a lot of information, how you can get your insurance company to comply with what they're supposed to do, understanding the networks, and many other valuable pieces of information.
Welcome back to Autism Live. I am here with the fabulous Mr. Matt Asner. We've been talking about events that are happening in Southern California for Autism Awareness Month, which starts in a little less than a week. Matt is the executive director of Southern California chapter of Autism Speaks, and he's got more events going. You've got more plates in the air, sir, but it's impressive. So we talked.
My dance card is full in the month of April.
That's exactly what it is. So we talked a little bit about Light Up the Blues. We talked about Light It Up Blue. We talked about the walk. We talked, you mentioned that you have a hockey game with the Kings on the 2nd, and you've got some other sports games going on too.
We do. We have a Padres game this month on April 11th.
Okay.
And then a Angels game, which is, I believe, on the 28th.
Okay.
I believe.
And so when you say
or
we have
27th.
a game, what does that mean?
Okay, so that means we, we're partners with the MLB. We have a partnership with the MLB, and so all of their teams are having autism awareness nights at some point in April, or if if they've been having them for a while outside of April or outside of the deal that we have with the MLB. It's June or July or whatever. So our Dodger game's in June.
Okay.
June 18th. But our Angels game and our Padres game are both in April.
Okay.
And basically, it's Autism Awareness Night. So they, there will be ceremonies on the field. We'll have someone sing the national anthem. It's just a really nice way to kind of say, hey, we're here, and have our families have fun at the ballpark. We have sections that we have that you can sit in and enjoy the game together. So it's really a nice way of getting out to a ball game, and it's a good opportunity to get out to a ball game and kind of enjoy it with your family.
It is. We went last year to the Dodger.
That's right.
Autism Awareness, and I don't know if Emily's got the clip handy that we could show that a little bit later, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it's great.
And we had not been to a Dodger game since right after my son was diagnosed. And it was fun to take him at a different time in his life and a different place in terms of where he is. And I do think when you go on a night where it's awareness, there is a lot more acceptance than if you're just going on a night on your own. I'm not saying don't go to a baseball game if it's not an autism awareness night. I would never say that.
Right.
But if you're nervous about your child's behavior, it's a really good place to start.
Absolutely.
Is going on the autism awareness night so you see how they can handle it.
And my feeling is go with a group.
Yeah.
We have a link to buy group seats, take 10 friends, take 20 friends, or get a large group to go together and sit together and make it your own thing. And it's great. I know a lot of people who did that with the Dodgers last year.
Yes.
And they had an amazing time.
Now, I know with the Dodger game last year, if you brought a certain number of people, you had an opportunity to send a kid onto the field. Is that true for all of the games, or is that just the Dodger game?
Yes, we are doing kids take the field on, I think, most of the games.
Okay.
Most of the games.
And because I think a lot of parents should know more about that, because you get there the night of and you see the kids on the field and you say, how did they get there, right?
Right.
And that's exactly how they got there. You bring enough people, and I don't know what the numbers are. You'll have to look at the individual website for the different thing, but it isn't an exorbitant number of people. You probably
and I think,
have that many people who'd like to go.
And I think check our website and check the Facebook pages for Orange County and San Diego. And they'll have instructions on how that all works.
And we were on the field with those kids and with those families, and
oh, it's amazing.
It was remarkable.
Yeah.
And the ball players, they have a job to do. They're there to, and it's a job, and it's a serious job. I know it's playing a game, but it's still a job, and there's a lot of pressure. But they took the time to have a moment with those kids, and each kid got to connect with one player. They got a baseball. It was an amazing thing for the kids and for the parent, too, as well, on the field with them. It's like a...
Sometimes the parent, I think, gets overwhelmed because they've spent 30 years on this earth, and they've never been on the field at Angel Stadium, Dodger Stadium, was it? I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the stadium. San Diego Stadium. And they haven't had the opportunity to be on the field, so it's overwhelming for them.
Yeah.
And they see their child, take the field with a player, and it's just a beautiful experience for them. And some of them, a lucky child gets to throw the first pitch.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
It really is, and it's very heartwarming, and it's a good game, and it's it's the great American pastime. And I will say too that we took the attitude early on with my son that if there was stuff that he could do, that he could do in a different way because he had autism. We weren't going to say, oh, we're not going to participate in that. We were like, oh, if there's a perk, take it. Take the perk. And I've had other family members who've said, my goodness, the things that your child has gotten to do and the people that he's gotten to meet because, and I go, yeah, but there's a lot of other things that he didn't get to do because he was doing therapy when your kid was playing out in the sandbox. So all things being equal, take the perks when you can find them.
Of course.
And this is a great perk for a family and for a kid, an opportunity. And it is, I'm not a huge baseball person, but I stepped out onto that field and went, okay, this is pretty impressive. I gotta say.
No, it's big.
It's
big,
and the lights are on. And
for me, Dodger Stadium holds a really special place in my heart because I grew up with the Dodgers being my team, and my father used to take me there quite a bit when he would play in these Hollywood Stars games.
Sure.
And so I was down on the field then. And to be down on the field again as an adult for a different reason, it was a very interesting, emotional, nostalgic experience for me.
Yeah, we had a member of our crew last year that a guy who big beefy guy that I've never seen be emotional, and he stepped out on that field and kind of stumbled and went down to his knees for a second and was like, I'm okay, but this is like a dream come true.
It's hard to explain. Nava doesn't really understand my attraction to baseball, but it's just something that I was born with, and my family in Kansas City were really into baseball, and my family here was really into baseball. So, it was something that I just grew up with. So it's mostly nostalgia.
Yeah.
Mostly.
And as you walk, I will tell you too, as you walk down the hallways to go on the field, they pump it up for you because there's pictures of amazing moments in baseball history.
The hall of miracles.
Yeah, and you walk down there and you feel like you're going into meeting the president. I mean, it's that it's something big, and then you hit those lights. And my comment was, well, you know why they call it the show? Because it's clear when you're standing on the field, this is phew.
And the loudspeaker, there's something that is really just the only place you hear that kind of loudspeaker is at a ball game.
Yeah.
And it's just bizarre
and Holly
wonderful.
Robinson Peete was singing the national anthem.
She was incredible.
She was amazing, and it was the first time that I've always heard the stories from people about how you're singing but there's a delay.
Yeah.
And so it was fascinating to watch what was on the jumbotron
and watch her.
Yeah. And we were just standing a couple of feet away from her and going, okay, that That's a tough job, boy.
You have that in-ear monitor, and you just need to listen to that
and not pay
anything
attention
else.
to anything else. Not hear yourself. Amazing, amazing. So
we also, by the way, we also have a Laker game.
Oh, okay.
On April 1st.
Wow.
On April 1st.
Okay.
Against the Trailblazers. So lots going on.
If somebody wants to find out more information about all these events, are they on a website?
They're on our Facebook page. Just go to
Facebook
our
page.
LA, Orange County. I would just go to LA, and they'll be on the LA
So
page.
LA, is it the name of it? LA Autism Speaks on Facebook?
Autism Speaks Los Angeles.
Autism Speaks Los Angeles, and you can find all that information about all the different events. You're going to be a very busy gentleman.
I know. I'm going to go away for a little bit in May.
I hope you get some rest and respite after May. And do your kids like to go to all these events?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Jake my older boy likes going to these. He's a social butterfly, so he likes going to these events. And Will, if there's food and girls...
Oh, are we in that phase now?
My young man wants to go to these events.
He's 11?
He's 11, yeah.
And he's about the girls already?
Wow. Oh, he's been about the girls his entire life. Wow. He's all about the girls.
My son doesn't quite like that. He just likes to be around other kids. He's a social butterfly, but the idea of that kind of thing, not anywhere in his awareness yet.
No, Will is.
And I like it.
Will is all about the ladies.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He's what you would call a player.
Well, an interesting turn of events there, right?
I would say so.
That will get back to me on how that works out for you.
It's terrifying. It is. It's
I can
very
well
scary.
imagine, especially at 11, because where is that going to go once it gets some hormones behind it?
I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
I mean, it's funny because we could do a whole show about that.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit of an uphill thing. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Okay.
But you got to prepare yourself for it and prepare them for it, and
You'll keep us posted.
see what happens.
We'll follow in your footsteps.
But he is a sweet child.
Oh, he's adorable.
Yeah.
I've met both of your sons now, and they're really sweet.
Yeah.
Really sweet
Good kids.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for sticking around.
My pleasure.
Love all this information and appreciate all the hard work that you're doing.
Thank you.
You are really doing a good job.
Thank you very much. And, keep your eyes open because should be some interesting news coming out this week.
Oh, yes. We have heard that that on Friday we should all be getting some very interesting news.
And we'll see what that entails.
Yes.
But it should be as interesting as it was last time.
I hate to be mysterious, so I'm just going to say that the rumor and the conjecture is that on Friday we will be getting new prevalence numbers. While we are not live Friday, I suspect that we'll be doing a live segment on Friday to cover that. And we will all be interested to see what those numbers are. For a long time, it's been careening down. We were at 1 in 50, then we were at 1 in 10, then we were 1 in 88. A different study had come out and said 1 in 50 for school-age children.
None of those were. I don't think any of those were official.
The 1 in 88 I thought was the last
official.
But the 1 in 50 was a different one that we couldn't compare with.
That was a phone. I believe that was a phone poll.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was for school-age children in America. So it will be interesting to see if it was 1 in 88 on Friday, what will we be told? And we are told that this will come from the CDC. Is that what you have heard as well?
I believe.
So there we have it. Didn't want to be too mysterious.
No. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see if that is actually the date that we
could be next week. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
But what we had heard was that it would be on Friday.
Yeah.
That's the scuttlebutt that we have heard. All right. But I thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure all the time.
I will not be at all of these events, but I will look forward to seeing you at the events that I can get to.
Okay.
All right.
I will see you, and we'll have a glass of Coke together or something.
There we go. I'll have my bubbly water.
Okay.
All right. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with more of Autism Live after these messages. Stick with us.
Skills is an online program that provides assessment, curriculum, positive behavior support planning for challenging behavior, and progress tracking, and it does this all in one place. The Skills Assessment and Curriculum addresses 8 areas of development, which even includes advanced higher level areas such as executive functions and cognition, which pretty much makes Skills the only ABA-based set of curricula for teaching more complex skills, things like problem solving, planning, self-management, perspective taking, and even inferring and predicting others' private events. Skills is a 4-step system. Step 1 is to add the child to your account. Step 2 is to start assessment. The Skills Assessment is the only ABA-based assessment with psychometric research demonstrating the language subscale to have excellent reliability. Every area of human functioning and typical child development from infancy to adolescence was researched, making the Skills Assessment the most comprehensive of its kind in the world, and we're quite proud of that.
Skills is easy to use. Simply click Start Assessment and begin answering questions. Or simply type in a keyword, find specific activities to assess, and add activities to treatment. Step 3. Choose activities. Once you've completed the assessment, Skills selects from a pool of 4,000 activities categorized by age, level, and skill type to provide you with exactly those activities each child needs. Start by choosing a curriculum, then a lesson, and finally an activity. Click the information icon to view prerequisites, ages in which targets develop, examples, and IEP goals. Click the video icon to watch a short video. Once you've identified an activity you want to teach, adding activities to treatment is a snap. Or start treatment. Here you can access customizable activity lesson details, add your own customized targets and exemplars, and edit an activity status such as introducing or mastering it. You can even print handouts such as worksheets, tracking forms, visual aids, and other materials. Skills also offers multiple progress charts mapping curriculum progress, lesson progress, and cumulative number of activities and targets mastered over time. The Skills language curriculum is categorized by verbal behavior type so that users can identify progress for verbal operants, such as echoics, mans, tax, and interverbals.
Skills is one of the only programs that provides the ability to write behavior intervention plans, or BIPs, for challenging behavior.
With just a few clicks, the outline of the behavior intervention plan is written for you and ready to be printed and implemented.
You can learn more about Skills today and get started by visiting us at www.skillsforautism.com, or you can call us at 877-975-4559. Skills. Progress starts here.
Welcome back to Autism Live. It's been a really interesting show, and as we mentioned, we will keep you posted on Friday if during the hours that I am here on Friday, we will do we'll break in and do a live segment, or if it's past the hours, we will certainly post on our Facebook, and you can check out there when we know the numbers. We will let you guys know the numbers. Have some different things that I want to talk about. We got a couple of minutes here at the end of the show, and I want to talk about what we have going on the rest of the week. Now, some of it is still in flux, and sometimes that just happens on Tuesday, that we're not 100% sure what's happening on Thursday. But I know for sure what's happening tomorrow. Dr. Doreen Grandpichet is going to be here first thing in the morning, and she's going to be answering your questions. Now, I've already got a bunch of questions that have come in on the live feature throughout the weekend, one of which that I mentioned at the top of the show. You can continue to write your questions in, and sometimes what we do and what we've started doing is if we don't have enough time to get to every question and you include an email, I can farm them out to experts so that we don't necessarily answer them on the air, but somebody can be giving you a quick answer via email. So don't forget that if you are interested in that, and not everybody is, and it's okay if you're not, because sometimes you want to preserve that anonymity in terms of how you ask the question. But if that isn't a concern for you, having an expert know your email address, you can put it in and we can try to get back to you quicker in terms of that. But I don't want to discourage you from asking more questions. Sometimes people ask questions and it's very similar to another person's question, and I can group them together and say we're getting questions about, you know, X, Y, or Z. So please participate with us and send your questions in for Ask Dr. Doreen. Now, in the second half of the show tomorrow, we have Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. Nancy Allspaw-Jackson will be here with me. Nancy is the Executive Director of Autism Care and Treatment Today. We shorten it to ACT Today sometimes when we talk about it here on the show. They're a great organization that gives grants directly for services that a family asks for. So they've given grants for fences, they've given grants for trampolines, they've given grants for training for staff. They've given training grants, for skills. Those of you guys who write in and say, are there any kind of an opportunity to get a grant or scholarship for skills? They've done that many times. Really, they've given it for if you want to get biomedical testing done or biomedical treatments. They've given grants that help to cover different things for different individuals. So I really want to encourage you to check out their website, act-today.org. Nancy will be with us tomorrow, and we have two wonderful guests that are going to be with us talking about, we mentioned Coach Elaine Hall, who was the driving force behind Autism the Musical. That it was her son that Matt Asner was referring to that's going to be doing a monologue on the night of Light Up the Blues. And they have a wonderful, an organization that she's involved with, they have a wonderful yearly event. And so we have two doctors who are going to be joining us tomorrow to talk about this important event and about families and autism, really treating the family and positive things that we can be doing for families. So looking forward to that tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I do know that we're going to have Ryan Hendry with us, and his blog is My Life with Autism. So really important young gentleman that we're looking forward to talking with on Thursday. And then it is my hope, we have a couple of other people who have just not confirmed with us yet, biomedical people that you really will be excited. One, an expert in gaps, and one from the MAPS. There's gaps and MAPS. We're hoping to hear back from them and to solidify having them here on the show. I want you to know we're working to make that happen. We just have to be able to nail down a time and availability for those people to be here. But then talking about in April, we've got some really exciting guests that we are going to be featuring. I can tell you already that Lisa Ackerman is going to be joining us on April 1st, and Ariva Martin from the Special Needs Network is going to be joining us on April 3rd. So just a preview of some of the exciting things that are going to be happening in that first week in April. Two amazing women from two amazing organizations. Lisa Ackerman is the founder of TACA, T-A-C-A, truly an amazing parent advocate organization. And as I mentioned, Ariva Martin from the Special Needs Network, talking about their Tools for Transformation Conference and their legislative breakfast. These are women who had children on the spectrum and said, I have a need to add to the conversation and to help families to get to services. And they've created two amazing organizations, and we'll be featuring them in that first week in April. The whole month of April, we're going to be focusing on what one individual can do and how we can all make a difference. So I hope you'll tune in for tomorrow and the rest of this week, and especially for next week as we take on some of the different things that are going on in the autism community around Autism Awareness Month. We're out of time. I must get off the air, but please give your kiddos a hug from me, and don't forget, tell others about us. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.